Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Local Opener Podcast. I'm your host, Keith of JRagnarokPromotions, and we are starting you off with something a little bit different today. Chad is unfortunately not with us because he had a show he had to take care of, so I hope it was a good one, brother. We look forward to having you back real soon. And Brandon, he took off the helm of co-host today as he is sitting in with his bandmates Jesse and Matt of One Hell Sense tonight, where we will be having some really in-depth and neat discussions about a bunch of different things. We talk about how the band came to be, how they got their name. We talk about what bands did at previous shows that rustled their jimmies a little bit, and what bands did at other shows that really surprised them. We discuss ticket sales and how you should conduct yourself when prepping for a show, as well as Jesse being the band dad who likes to keep his pants on, while the others are jokesters that want to try to push it a little too far. We'll allude to that and much more further in the episode. So without further ado, I'll quit talking. Here's When Hell Ascends Tonight. And we are back with the guys from When Hell Ascends Tonight. What is up, dudes?
What's up?
Hey,
going on?
What's going on? All right, so if you guys could each just kind of introduce yourself and what you do for the band, and then we'll kind of get into the little Q&A section for this. So, co-host, we'll start with you.
Yeah, sure. My name is Brandon Lee, and I'm the guitarist for One Hell Sense Tonight.
I go first. I'm Jesse. I play bass, and I do all like the programming and extra stuff.
Don't let him sell you short. He also does the recording, mixing, and mastering of all of our recordings, and slays it.
He does.
I am Matt. I'm the drummer for One Hell Sense Tonight. I also handle a lot of the, I guess, behind the scene booking aspects and work with a lot of just trying to get all the parts to come together, really.
Nice. Yeah, no sense being modest here, guys. If you want to talk yourselves up, by all means do so. Have an ego. That's what we're here for. So, so I guess we'll start with you, Jesse. So how did you get into music?
Into music, I don't know. I started playing piano when I was pretty young, and then I tried playing saxophone for a while. That wasn't for me. Then my dad is actually really good at guitar and tried to teach me guitar on and off for like a long time. And I would start playing it and then hit a point where I get frustrated and then give up. And then I did that like at least 5 or 6 times. Then I started playing bass, and I realized that was more of an instrument for me.
Is it because there's less strings?
Yeah.
You know, it's really funny because every person I have ever talked to who plays bass, like they'll say, "Oh, I started playing guitar and then I didn't care for it, and then I played bass and I just loved it." And it's like, "Oh, it's all because it's less strings."
Yeah, well, plus it's one at a time.
Yeah.
One string at a time. That's more my speed.
Yeah, I hear that. Well, what about you, Matt? What got you into music?
I was raised in a household that we didn't have instruments per se, but there was a very eclectic mix of music in my house when I grew up. And I think that was attributed more to my stepdad. He was into everything from hair metal, Queen, Louis Armstrong, Sinatra. Like, it pretty much like ran the gamut in my house growing up. I didn't actually start playing an instrument until probably 18 years old. That's when I started the drums, and then I was always into music, like a little bit. But as far as like getting into heavier stuff, I think it was on the school bus where I learned like Pantera for the first time. It was a buddy of mine that I went to school, and he played me the Cowboys from Hell album, and I remember hearing Heresy and Domination, and I was just like sold.
So Pantera was pretty much the band that kind of got you into heavy music?
Yeah.
Nice. Now, where do you draw inspiration from, Jesse?
I started listening to like pop punk in high school. That was like 20 years ago. And then that kind of gradually ramped into mostly metalcore, and then gradually getting heavier. But probably metalcore. My roots are probably metalcore.
Right on. Now, Brandon, for I'm pretty sure we discussed this in our first episode when we got to meet the hosts.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
for those of our audience who are newer, tell us how you got into music and who your inspirations are. And
Right. Yeah. So like kind of like bouncing off what Matt said, growing up, like there was so much like different music that I would hear as a kid, like coming up, like being in my dad's garage or helping my grandfather out. Um, like classic rock to like the early metal. That's kind of like what really got me into like wanting to play guitar. Like I always loved listening to guitar parts and the solos. I was like, I want to do that someday. So I started playing guitar and I was like 13, 12, 13. And after learning all the basic like AC/DC songs, Deep Purple and whatnot, I started listening to like more heavier stuff. A buddy of mine introduced me to Slipknot, and that's kind of where I got into like the heavier metal. And that was when they were good, their Iowa album. And yeah, like in high school, I started getting into like metalcore, all that like August Burns Red, Asking Alexandria, Bullet for My Valentine, all that stuff. And it wasn't until I came home that I was starting to get into like the deathcore stuff. I started hearing bands that I never heard before, like Brand of Sacrifice, Left to Suffer, stuff like that. And it was just like really heavy. And I was like, that's more my type. Like that stuff really hit for me. Like beefy breakdowns. I love it. So that's kind of where I draw my inspiration from and where I decided to like want to play an instrument.
right on, right
What is
on.
Brandon? What is the one band or one song you can say that you like wanted to pick up an instrument?
Oh,
Sorry, Keith, that I'm stealing.
it's
No,
no, that's good. That's
honestly,
good. No.
Brandon, before you answer, I welcome that because if there's one thing I learned kind of doing the host bit is I feel like I talk a lot, and if you guys have questions for me or anyone else in like any of the other guests or anything, by all means ask. you know, because it seems like I'm just being long-winded a lot of the times, and it's just like, okay, schmuck, like we like to listen to the other people talk. So
Yeah, no, actually good question. It's I can't really name a song per se, but Zach Wild. Ozzy Osbourne when he was with Ozzy, and they like Randy Rhoads was awesome. Don't get me wrong, but Zach Wild for me is that's the guy that I was like I want to be able to play like him one day. He's just shreds. He's amazing.
yeah, I feel like anyone who picks up guitar generally attributes a lot of what they do to like Zach Wild or Dime or Randy Rhoads. People like those guys who kind of pioneered a lot of these heavier bands to come into it.
Right.
Yeah.
Dime is definitely tied there though. That's yeah. Dime and Zach, those two for sure.
Way to pigeonhole yourself, bud.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Well, what about you guys? Same question for you guys. Like who or what band or song or musician was it that kind of was just like you listen to them and you're like, I have to play drums or I have to play bass?
I'll go first.
Go ahead, Matt.
Honestly, Bulls on Parade by Rage Against the Machine. Brad
That's
Wilkes.
that's a solid one.
That song, that was the start of the transition to, I don't want to say heavier music, but that was my, I need to play this, you know? Um, and then that kind of like got me into drums. And then I was like, what are these two pedals that go on a bass drum? This is neat. And then started listening to heavier music from there, like Hatebreed, and got into hardcore, and then of course metalcore, deathcore, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, Brad Wilkes, Rage Against the Machine, honestly, as simple as their stuff is, I don't know, they accented everything perfectly. And there was just the aggression behind the music that like really wanted me to play. I really wanted to play that stuff. Jesse?
For me, I'm not sure. I think the first show I went to was at the Allentown Fair when I was like 14, and I can't even remember what band it was now. it's some pop punk band, but just like the feeling of being there and like seeing a band, and like it was a new experience for me, and I wanted to be on the other side of that. And for a while I wasn't sure how. uh I didn't really play any instruments like seriously enough to be in a band. Like there aren't like pianos in a band generally. I mean, you have keyboardists, but uh I
Oh, it
did
seems
end
pretty
up
popular
doing
now.
yeah, well, before I was in this band, I did vocals in a band prior to this, and that wasn't bad, but I did not enjoy being like the center of attention. Uh and then I started playing bass in this band, and that was way more my speed. But it was definitely that, just the show experience, like having that feeling of being at a show is like I've not been able to recreate that really in other ways, and so I kind of wanted to be on the other side of that and be able to do that for other people.
I hear that. So,
Yeah, that's how we met. That's how we met Jesse. Actually, was
Yeah,
we got asked. I got asked by this guy who was a guitar player in this band. I'm not gonna say the band name because I don't even think they're around anymore, so it's not even really worth it. Um, but dude asked me, he's like, we got the show coming up at Jabberjaws. You want to hop on? We're like, yeah, sure. And then I can't remember where in the set of bands we played, but Jesse, I think, came up to us like after the show and was like, "Hey, I noticed you guys don't have a bass player." That was like right around the time we kicked our bass player out for being an alcoholic to the point he was missing practices, missing shows.
Yikes.
And we're like just sitting there and we're like, "You were just up here screaming like play bass?" And he's like, "Yeah." And shortly after that, he came into it, and we tried to let that whole two band thing happen, like that he could play both. um they apparently weren't having it. uh Sorry for them, their loss, our gain. So
so if I'm hearing you correctly, basically he was kind of going back and forth between your band and their band, and they were not. They're like,
no,
no, you have to
yeah.
choose, or
They
he didn't even
eventually, yeah, they kind of kicked me out because I was trying to make them do stuff. I think it was it was a very slow moving band.
how fucking dare you?
Yeah, so it was more of like a hobby for those guys, and I to be fair, I was probably pressuring them more than they wanted to, and
Yeah.
it wasn't the same for them. So
Well, I mean, and that's where you gotta kind of put things into perspective. If you're doing it as a hobby, I think you need to just kind of make it known, like, hey, we're not planning
absolutely, yeah,
on doing anything serious with this. We just, we want to go play a few shows, like, just be like a local bar band or something like that.
yeah,
Whereas, like, if you want to be serious and you're like, hey, I eventually want to go on tours, I want to play with bigger bands, I want to play in bigger venues that, you know, can house multiple, larger name bands.
right.
And if those two ideologies clash, it's no one's gonna get anywhere.
Yeah.
No.
So, so Matt, I've heard through the grapevine that you were pretty much the founder of the band. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So, how did that all come to be for you? Like, where did the name When Hella Since Tonight come from? How did the creation of the band come to be? Like, how'd that all happen?
All right, so I was in a band probably now 16 years ago, and that kind of folded a while back. um Had a falling out with one of the guys really badly to where it like got personal. And
That's
then
good.
I think like 10 years passed at this point, or like 9 years, and I just gotten a sorry. I just got an apartment where I had the space to be able to do it, because I was playing off and on drums for years. It was never consistent. Then I finally got a place where I was able to play in my apartment. We had a garage attached underneath, and I was like, I'm gonna reach out to all those guys in that last band and see if they possibly want to do something, do bygones type of thing. And then everybody came for like one sesh. One guy was there for one session. That was it. The one guitarist. And I think he noticed how much seriousness I was trying to put into it, and he just couldn't commit. So he bowed out, which is okay, whatever. I'm still friends with the guy. And then it was like a slow progression of just like dropping people, picking up people. Over time, I had this one guy, Ryan, who actually filmed our World at War video, and he's done like some photos and some artwork for us before. He's the one. Him and somebody else came up with the what? Like just saying, "Oh, we're just what?" or something like that, something stupid. And I was like, "Well, we could just use that as an acronym to something." And it was like a couple days later, where One Hell Sense Tonight kind of came out of that. And then, over time, everybody from that batch was gone. Some were forced out. Some were, product of circumstance that things came up that they just couldn't do it. And we're, I don't know, what, 6 years deep in this or something like that. So yeah, I'm the only original member left, but I try not to be on a power trip. Give everybody a say, let everybody, pay their mind, and we get into arguments and stuff because of it. It sometimes would be easier if I would just be like, well, hey, tough shit, this is what we're doing. But I don't want anybody to feel like they're lesser in the aspect of the band.
Well, that's a really good mentality to have, because in a lot of cases, you will get members who are in the same kind of predicament, who go on that power trip and they have an ego about them, and it kind of gets to their head, which I feel like would probably cause more of a rift than someone who is just like, hey, listen, let's try to make this fair for everybody and everybody has a say.
So there's positives and negatives to that.
Yeah.
The positive is morale. The negative is you cannot get shit done as quick as you want to.
Yeah, that indecisiveness really kicks your ass.
Honestly, there's times where like I'll throw something in the band chat like, hey guys, I need you guys to take a vote on this, on what we're doing. Well, it'll drag out for days sometimes. Sometimes there won't even be a decision. And then I have to bring these things up like multiple times, which, love the guys, but Jesus Christ, sometimes.
You are all getting thrown under the bus.
You know what? Like, but no, like, I mean, that goes with everything we do. It's not just, say, artwork or a song idea, or it's, do we take shows or whatever? If people aren't available to do the show, obviously we can't do the show. If people, either don't want to do the show because of their drive or whatever the case, like, or, it is what it is. But, it's a vote. It's not like we say yes to everything immediately, because I don't want to be the guy to back out of anything.
Right.
I think we've pulled out of maybe one or two shows tops in 6 years. Maybe I think it might only be one. And I think that was because everybody got sick or something. And then I think even the show got canceled too, like 2 days after we pulled out, because the touring band it was supposed to be a Worm Shepherd at Club Kerrigan's in Whitehall, and they ended up canceling it like literally a day after we couldn't make it. And we said we couldn't make it. They ended up canceling, and because I guess a couple of the band members got COVID or whatever. And this is after this is after peak COVID time. Like, this is like, I don't know, maybe a year ago or so.
So basically right when COVID ended, quote unquote.
Yeah.
So no, that's wild. So how did you wind up getting your current lineup? Was it like searching through Craigslist, or just a bunch of mutuals, or
you do what you can, man. Honestly, we found Mike on Reddit. Like,
that's
it
wild.
was I posted in like a Lehigh Valley thing, like, hey band, here's our links, searching for a guitarist, and I guess somebody saw it and like told Mike about it, and then like he messaged us. Brandon, how the hell did you come into the band?
Brandon hit me up like a year ago when we were looking for a guitarist, and then I don't think he had a guitar at the time.
Yeah, I didn't have
tune down low enough.
Yeah, I didn't have the 7 strings, and I wasn't able to get any.
So you joining the band was pretty much that long-term storytelling. Like, this was going on for a long time.
I mean, not really. Like, I had inquired about it, like Jesse said.
Yeah.
And after, like, it's not like it was something that was continued, like, yeah, I'm still working toward that guitar, man. Like, it wasn't nothing like that. Like we just pretty much was like, well, fuck, all right, that was not gonna work. On to the next thing. Like I didn't
So
just like, yeah.
so if I may ask, what was the previous guy's name? James?
Yeah.
Am I right in that? So was he like a shorter term member? Like was he not in the picture when Brandon inquired, or was he? And
It was very fluid in a way. Like, um, we had a couple shows booked in the spring, and James, got a new job, I think like a month or so prior, and it was asking for a lot of his time, and he really wanted to like delve into it and like make it a career. And we were like, all right, well, shit, what are we gonna do? I think Brandon or James was in what, year and a half or something like that, maybe 2 years.
Yeah, James is already in the band.
Yeah, he was in for 2 years at that point, and then Mike, I think, was in just about a year at that point. And the whole thing with Brandon, I think like I seen somebody post something and he like commented like, oh, I need to be in a band or something like that. It was just some weird happenstance thing, like post that we saw, and I said something to Jesse. I'm like, hey, you ever hear of this guy? He's like, he actually messaged me like a year ago about like hopping in, and that was probably when we were looking for somebody when we ended up filling
that was before
Mike.
that was when we brought Mike in.
Yeah.
okay.
So we ended up hitting him up, and then brought him in. Was James at practice still practicing and showing you, Brandon, or not? I can't remember.
No, James. No, the first time I met James was at our show in JB.
Yeah, I think we sent. Yeah, I think we had tabs and everything drawn out for you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, because if I remember correctly from the fan perspective, you guys, and this is when I first started getting really heavy into you guys, because it wasn't very long after you guys' show at the V Spot where I saw a TikTok, and I have a feeling because of your reputation, Matt, that this was you, where you did the Sarah McLachlan like in the arms of an angel, like playing it off like James died or something.
Okay,
and then
so,
you're like, no,
right.
he went to culinary, or he's got a culinary job. Like,
all right. So we'll usually what happens, like, we'll come up with an idea. I will give Mike a shit ton of credit, and like he is clever as hell, and like we'll pop shit in like that. Like I didn't think of the Sarah McLachlan song. Like Mike was like took it and ran with the idea and just kind of did his own thing, and we let him do that, and then we review it before we post it, all that kind of stuff. But I will give Mike Mike fair credit on that. Like he's very clever in doing that type of stuff, and it's hilarious.
I'll give
9 times out of 10, it's hilarious.
I'll give credit where credit is due. Y'all got me on that one. Like, as soon as I saw that pop up and it's just like that slow zoom on his picture and the song in the background, I'm like, oh no. And then the whole like little real quick blip at the end saying like, no, he's alive and well. He just, he got a job as a chef somewhere, and we're looking for a new guitarist. That's it. And I was like, you fuckers got me.
Mike actually made the original video like with a quicker blip, and I was like, dude, no, you got to at least put it up for like a solid second and a half or something. Like at least because you did it so quick that like people aren't gonna catch even a word of it. So you want to make somebody stop for a second and be like, oh, I think I need to rewind and read that.
Yeah, you had to do the real quick pause because it was just like, and then it was gone. And as soon as it hit the end, as soon as I saw that blip, I'm like, those asses, like they got me hook, line, and sinker that entire time.
And like, and James, the funny thing is James didn't even know like that this was happening. Like we just did it. Like it was just, we had all the pictures. I literally went through my phone and we went through like our Google Drive and just got all the pictures that we could have James possible. And I sent them over to Mike. I'm like, yo, Mike, here, do it up. And James, I remember, messaged and he's like, yo, this is the fucking best thing ever.
So has there ever been a time where you guys would kind of like try to do something a little bit more funny and like someone wasn't on board with it? Or
It's always me.
Always.
I have to be quality control and like, no, that's gonna get us canceled.
So you were the one who opted out of the pants videos, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I was fully pants at all times.
I forgot
man.
about that. So that series of videos, I got to tell you, Keith. So I wanted to go on. I wanted it to go on a little bit longer.
Right.
A, content. B, long-term storytelling, just trying to drag people out on it. Like some of the ideas that I had for it and wanted to do with it didn't make the grade. Even to the point that Mike was like, no, too far. So what I just want to bring this up because I thought it was hilarious. So when we were doing the last Brandon video where he woke up and like had to go run out, my basement or whatever.
Dude, fuck you.
I wanted it to have have it look like he pissed his pants, like he was in a deep dream and he pissed himself.
Hey, look everybody, Billy peed his pants.
Of course I peed my pants. Everybody my age pees their pants. It's the coolest.
Really?
Yes, you ain't cool unless you pee your pants.
Like, I thought that would have been hilarious. We didn't even need to address it in the video, but just show the stain, And like somebody goes, "Are we gonna like use real piss?" And I'm like, I mean, if you want, like, we can use real piss. But ended up not making. He didn't want to commit to it because he was like, "Yo, I don't have another pair of shorts." I'm like, "Dude, it's not real piss. Like, it's just water." Like, what's the big deal?
Oh man. So Jesse, we'll build off of that. So you have to play quality control for a lot of this, and you have to be like, hey, like let's tone it down a smidge. Was that pretty much like one of the only times, or has there been other instances where you had to be like, yeah, no?
Yeah, it's pretty common. It's usually most ideas are usually a no for me. Either because I don't think it's a good idea or because it's like horrendously stupid or one of those things. Usually the stupid stuff ends up being a good idea. So I mean, it ultimately comes down to a vote, but my vote is usually, hey, let's not.
So in layman's terms, you're basically like the band dad, where you're like, no guys.
Yeah, I guess so. Or band nerd. Probably Matt's more the dad, but irresponsible dad.
All right, so he's the cool dad.
Yeah, I'm like I'm like the Flanders.
That's pretty good.
Oh shit.
Wow. So like, man, so like what other things have they done that you kind of had to like put the kibosh to or just opt out of?
Oh god.
You don't have to
probably
give
shouldn't
anything
even say if I can remember.
It's probably a laundry list long.
Yeah, honestly, I can't remember anything specifically, and even if I could, it probably wouldn't be a good idea to be talking about it publicly.
Yeah, true this.
So yeah, dude, I can feel that. But like one thing I really liked about those videos, and I know maybe like some of y'all may be like, this ain't really my cup of tea, I'm good. But like one thing I personally, from an outside perspective, enjoy is when you don't take yourself too seriously and you're able to have fun and you're like, listen, like if this ain't something that you're into, well then you're not gonna like us. It's like the Chris Porter joke where, they go into a club and they say they smell like weed and beer. And it's just the guy spraying Axe. He's like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Well, I don't want to smell like weed and beer." He's like, "Well, we have weed, we have beer. Why not advertise?" So it's one of those things where it's like, listen, we like to have a good time. We like to, I mean, granted, you have to put some limits on stuff, right? But on the same token, you're like, it pays to sometimes not take yourself so seriously.
Yeah, I don't take myself very seriously, but at the same time, I don't like.
There's a difference between comedy and stupidity.
Yeah, I don't want like a lot of attention focused on me in general. So that's why being in a band works out, because those guys can take care of that stuff for the band, and I can concentrate on audio and the things that matter more to me, like songwriting and stuff like that. So
right. So it's like, let them do their thing, and it's just like,
yeah, it works, because by myself I wouldn't have that aspect. So yeah.
We have a series of videos. I'm hounding Mike on getting editing down. We're not gonna say what they are. But it was I was told like 20 times, no, it's a dumb idea. And I said, look, I don't give a shit if it's a dumb idea. Like, it's not about it being a dumb idea or not. It's A, content, and B, it's so dumb that some people are going to be like, I kind of want to see what they're going to do next with this. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
that's the aspect of it, is like interest, piquing interest. Like, yeah, it may be stupid as hell when we're doing it, and we spent a couple hours doing it in my living room, but that it's taking forever and is driving me insane. Like, I just want to get these damn videos out, just because like people are gonna be like, why? But that's all I want them to do. Like,
That was my question too, as well.
like, it literally took me. So I had bought like a drum mic set like years ago, and Jesse uses them for a bunch of recording, and for other bands and stuff like that. Which I don't care, whatever, dude, use it. And Jesse kept saying no on doing this idea. I'm like, hey Jesse, just one day I was like, hey Jesse, me and Mike are gonna do this like one thing. Like, we kind of need a mic for it. And he goes, if we're just gonna do that damn thing, like, just let me record it so I know it's done right. I was like, all right, cool. And that's how we got him. That's how we got him to do it.
Yeah, they tricked me in. They baited me with recording things.
The perks of being the recording guy, which I do want to ask, because being a person who does the bass, the songwriting, recording, the producing, all that stuff, it's like, how do you even sleep? Because I feel like a lot of those people who take on all those tasks, I look at that and I'm like, shit, like I'm only making TikTok videos and the occasional YouTube video, and I feel like I don't have time. And I only work 3 days a week. And I imagine you probably have a full-time job on top of doing all of this.
Yeah.
So it's just like, how do you juggle all that?
And not to mention, he's the one that offered to do all the audio tech for our fucking podcast. He wanted to take that on too.
I'm still willing to do that. No, I'm just kidding though. It sounds good. Just careful time management and knowing when I'm going to be working effectively. Like, I used to stay up all night doing stuff, and I would end up not getting anything done because I'd be dead tired. So I started realizing that I get much better work done in the morning. So I'll wake up like 3-4 hours before I have to go to work. Sometimes that's like 3:30 a.m. But then I'll work on audio stuff for like that 3 or 4 hours, then go to work, then just come home, eat, and go to sleep. And I end up getting so much more done before work than I do after work. It's like, it's really drastic, but it's mostly stuff like that, avoiding distractions. Just knowing how long things are going to take, really, and trying to plan accordingly.
So not only do you work the worst shift in the world, you do work before the worst shift in the world.
Yeah, I've found that my brain works better when I wake up. Like, everything, I write better music. I just do better work. I'm better at video games when I wake up in the morning. It's really weird.
I can't wake up early just to play video games. I tried it before.
No,
that's what proved it to me, because I was playing Smite every day, and I was statistically like way better. And when I had first woken up, so like, all right, I'm doing this from now on.
As someone who has played MOBAs, I can tell you, like, I've never really tried it in the morning, but if you're a night owl like me and you play a game like that where it just makes you want to rage when you're not doing good, playing at night is not good.
No.
I played League of Legends for a long time, and I could tell you I'd be on like a couple game losing streak at night, and I'm like, fuck this, I just want to throw my keyboard.
It's the losing is hard enough, but when you have other people on your team like laying into you because you're garbage, then
and you're tired,
kind of pushes you over the edge. Yeah,
and you're tired and cranky. No thanks. That's not good in my book. So
your ass.
No, Brandon, have you ever been in a MOBA chat? Like,
no.
Have you ever?
It's the most toxic shit you'll ever hear in your life. Like, it's so bad. Like, Call of Duty isn't even close compared to.
Like, you play League of Legends, or I don't know how it is with Smite. I imagine it's probably
the same thing. It's literally the same thing.
But that makes COD lobbies look PG. You know, like they're bad.
Yeah.
You know, I got told to kill myself multiple times. I got told I'm garbage. Like
That shit.
yeah, dude.
I'm looking this up right now. This sounds fun. League of Legends.
Yeah. And these kind of games have so many different ways that you can lose a game that
yeah.
people will just pick one and blame someone for it. Like it's
Yeah,
it's really bad.
I mean, even though even though this is more a musically oriented podcast, like we do go off on wild tangents, listeners, so bear with us. But no, because like when you play a game like that, generally you have essentially 4 different tasks that you're doing. So depending on what lane you're in, like, oh, if you're a top lane, you're primarily like a tank. If you're mid, you're an assassin or mage. If you're bottom, you're like a tank or a marksman, and like jungle is a kind of mix of everything. And if your entire team is doing badly, they'll almost always blame the jungle or the ADC every single time.
All right, yeah, I'm fucking lost. All right, cool.
Yeah. Like I said, it's a wild tangent. Well, building off of that, what do you guys like to do in your free time when you're not doing music or producing or any of that?
Sleep. I love sleeping. However, I don't get much of it anymore lately. Ever since I got my puppy, I have a blue heeler, and that dude just don't shut the fuck up. He's very vocal. He is very nippy. He's getting better, but yeah, I like to sleep. But when I'm not sleeping, we're either like going out doing stuff together, like me and the wife, the family. I like going to shows or like festivals and stuff, and video games. I recently started playing Valheim, and I'm addicted to it. It's awesome. It's like a take on Ark, but like Viking style. There's no dinosaurs. It's like realistic stuff. Well, somewhat. Like just starting from scratch and like building everything. I don't know. It's cool. Started playing it 2 days ago, and I think I got a lot done since then.
Nice. What about you, Jesse? What do you do in your free time?
I'm mostly doing music stuff if I have free time. Either if it's not mixing and stuff for our band, I also do like editing and stuff for a couple other bands. So um if I don't have anything actively to work on, I'll try to find just something to practice for. So yeah, it's pretty much just all audio right now. Whenever I find something I want to do, I try to focus all of my 100% of my time into it.
So
And then eventually I'll get off of it. But
can you name drop some of the other bands you work with, just so we like know who's behind some of the sound?
oh, I was mixing for Nailbite for a while. I'm still doing some of their post production and editing and stuff.
Nice.
I'm in a studio band called Empty Earth with a couple other guys from the area, but now we're all kind of moving away, and so that's slowing down a little bit. But I did all the post production stuff for that, and then I've just done assorted mixing stuff for different people here and there, but nothing too consistent yet. But I'm always looking though, so if anyone is looking for some audio work for cheap prices, let me know.
Yeah, make sure this guy doesn't sleep. What about you, Matt? What do you do in your free time?
I actually hate sleep. I feel like I waste too much time the longer I sleep.
I know that
I can be productive enough on 5 hours of sleep. Like I have a job where I have to be at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Ew.
But I'm salary, so like the expectation is like, oh, you need to be here X amount of hours, and I'm like, whatever.
What do you do if you don't mind my asking?
I'm a quality assurance manager for a wheel and brake landing system company. For aircraft.
Sounds really intricate and kind of boring. But if it pays well, hey, go for it.
It is, but it isn't boring. Every day's different, but the salary aspect is nice. I get paid decently, but there's days where like an audit will happen and I'm putting in 14 hours and I don't get any extra fucking pay for it.
Yuck.
Other than that, like I like to pick up the Xbox every so often. I play this one mobile game like a fucking addict on my phone. You know, I'm an Assassin's Creed guy when it comes to video games.
Ooh,
Um,
you caught me. Which one's your favorite one?
so I think I'm on the tail end of Valhalla at this point. I only just I only just picked it up. Now I'm a completionist when it comes to Assassin's Creed games. I'm talking everything,
Mhm.
every little thing, every chest you can open, every collectible, whatever. Like I'm that guy. So I will put hours and hours and hours into these games to the point where I end up like a couple years behind.
His gamer
I
score is ridiculous.
I I didn't pick up Valhalla until like probably 3 months ago,
Yeah.
but I've actually had the time to like kind of put like good solid time into it. I think I'm on the tail end of the story at this point.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to get Mirage right away, I'll be honest, but I'd have to say probably my favorite. So I like Valhalla a lot, but as a lot of people had issues with the series, it got too far away from the stealth stuff, which I heard Mirage is really good at, like going back to that. But by my reading of other like articles and stuff, apparently they're going to be doing two different styles of games like coming up. They're going to do like one smaller, more stealth, similar to what they did with Mirage just now, and then they're also going to work on another like larger scale one, similar to like a Valhalla or Odyssey or Origins. Which Origins, great,
Yeah,
great game.
Origins was the one with Bayek, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's the last one I played. And the thing is like I didn't play all the Assassin's Creed games. I played the first one, the Ezio Collection, uh, 3, Black Flag, and then Origins. Those were the only ones I played. And even though I loved Origins, by the time I was finished with it, I'm like, thank fucking God.
yes,
Like this was
yes,
forever. Like
no, exactly.
and if you're a completionist in those games, you're playing it longer than even I did. And
Yep.
I was just like, nope, there is no way. I used to be a completionist, like when I played the Ezio storylines,
Mm,
collecting all the feathers, opening all the chests,
yep.
finding all this, doing all the missions and everything. I was like, I was all about that. And then after that, nope.
Once the scope got absurd in Origins, I think Odyssey, like I like Odyssey, don't get me wrong, but I I was over the boat traveling bullshit back from Black Flag. Like there was just too much of it way back then, and then they kind of like were, or it felt like it was creeping back into the series, and I'm like, oh God, please no. Like I just I don't want to, can't sit through that again. Um, but no, Valhalla's solid. The storyline in that is great. But it's like it turned into an RPG game and less of a stealth based operation where it normally was, and that's what I
Yeah.
fell in love with. That's what I fell in love with at the get go. Like you used to get punished if you didn't kill somebody stealthily, or if you were spotted. Literally,
Mhm.
the mission used to just end.
Yeah. You get
You know what I mean?
desynchronized as soon as you got caught.
If somebody spotted you, that was it. Now it's like, oh, I can just go in and start throwing axes at fucking people. Cool. Like,
Yeah, sounds like a typical Tuesday in my book.
yep. I usually try to get in a little bit of time before like practices and stuff, and I got a little one running around. She's almost 3, so like that consumes a bunch of my time too. I don't really get much else time for things other than that. So, which is okay.
So, with everything you guys do in your free time and your full-time jobs and so on and so forth, how do you juggle that and then like going on show circuits or anything like that or picking up gigs? Like how much of a problem can that be for you guys?
Ooh, it all depends on everybody's schedule. Like
Yeah.
if there's a show coming up that someone brings to the group chat to talk about, we usually, like you said earlier, we'll put it to a vote. Or like sometimes we don't even bother putting it to a vote. If it's something really stupid on a Monday or a Tuesday and it's like super far away for the majority of the band, it's just not gonna happen. Because
Yeah,
Yeah, I
sometimes
think
go
yeah.
ahead, Jesse.
we've learned to accept that. Like mostly we need to play on weekends, or that's usually when our schedules are all aligned.
Right.
Yeah,
I
it can get difficult on the middle of the week. Sorry,
Yeah.
Keith.
Oh
It
no,
can get
you're
difficult.
you're fine.
it can get difficult in the middle of the week. I mean, Brandon's like an hour and a half from us. So like in our with our previous members, everybody was a little bit closer. So like picking up a weekday one was like a lot easier because if it was only like a 20-minute, 30-minute drive, like it wasn't too bad. But like, yeah, we still all got to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, 4:30, whatever. So uh, even on a Tuesday night, it's still rough for us being up to 11 or 12 o'clock in the morning, 12 o'clock at night, and either you got kids or you got to wake up stupid early or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear that. That's actually something that became a pretty big focal point for when I was making my show, and we'll discuss that a little bit later. But I was asking around to some of my friends who are in the scene who do promoting, and I was like, hey, like, I'm planning on doing a show. When do you think would be an optimal time to do it? Because the vice president of the fire company, who was in the mix of putting this show together, they suggested putting it up on Thanksgiving Eve, which is on a Wednesday. And we were like, that's on the eve of a holiday. It's a Wednesday. That's probably, and then on top of that, we're going to be competing with like Black Friday shoppers and people who are traveling for family and stuff, you know. So, I talked to Eric from Traverse the Abyss and Nikki from Renovare, and they're like, yeah, if you can think of 3 reasons why no one would come to your show that day, it's probably best to not book it that day. And I was like, yeah, and it seems like the weekend for most bands in our scene is probably the best times.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but anybody can think of 3 reasons not to
Well,
go
I
to your show.
mean,
Like,
yeah, but it's
I get it. It's a good concept and a good, basis to like start from. I get that. It's, to be honest, it's harder now than it was like a couple years ago to get people to come out to shows.
yeah,
Like, it doesn't matter the lineup really. Like, even some of the more national acts, like it's tougher to get people out. And you don't get a choice when the national act comes through. It's, oh, you want to play with Enterprise Earth and Within Destruction? Fuck yes, I do. Okay, well, you're gonna go play on a Tuesday.
right.
Fuck. All right, like, but you got to take the ones that you can do.
Yeah.
That is it tough on a Tuesday? Is it tough when there's no bar? Yeah, of course. And like I said, it's harder to promote now, especially with social media. Like, used to be a lot easier. You can go into an event page and you could see literally anybody who would click maybe or going, and you could just find random ass people that you're not friends with and just send them messages and try to sell them tickets. That's what we used to do.
Right.
But Facebook cracked down on it around the time of COVID or right before it. And you, like, if I go and click on your event and see who's going or who said maybe, I can only see people that I'm friends with.
Right. And see, that's another thing I was actually really curious about, because I remember when we made the event page for Reignite before I got with you and discussed about how to get you guys in on it as well.
Mhm.
Like, I could see who all said that they're going or that they're interested. Now I can only see who's going. It'll tell me a number of people who's interested, but it'll show
Yeah.
me who's invited and it'll show me who said they're going, and that's it. And
Yep.
I was just like, this is really weird, because it's like, at least if I can see who said they're interested, like when it gets closer to showtime, like you said, you can message them and be like, hey, I still got tickets left. Did you want to come out? And if they say no, whatever,
Yeah.
But now I don't even know. And it sucks too, because like now, like, if you get people who tell you you're interested or whatever, it feels like you kind of have to chase them down anymore, because the
Oh, it is. It's
idea
tough.
of going to a show just for, or an event in general, unless it's like a stadium show, because stadium shows seems to be like doing incredibly well. It seems like you have to hound them, and then you have to worry about that potentially turning them away too.
It's so tough nowadays, dude. It really is. Like, and like, we're not as ingrained in the scene. Like, obviously people know of us and shit, but
Hmm.
like, we're not buddy buddy with a lot of people. And it's not that we keep to ourselves. It's just like, I hate to say it, but like, it's clicky in a way,
Hmm.
you know? And that's fine. Like, I might not be part of your clique, and that's cool. Don't bother. Don't change how I feel. Fucking feel.
Right.
Like, no ill will or nothing. But it is clicky in a way, so these people that do the big networking stuff, and it's great, don't get me wrong, like I'm not knocking it, and I got no problem with anybody. Well, I do, but I don't, we're not probably not going to talk about that. But no, like it's, there's big groups, and like a bunch of those people we've dealt with, and not in a negative way, but we've dealt with a lot of them, but we're just not as tight, I guess you could say, with some of the people. So in a way, it's like I don't want to say we're at a negative way of how we handle it, and we're what's the word I'm looking for here? Shit. We're a disadvantage. We're not at a disadvantage. Like we're kind of in a disadvantage. Like we don't have that big circle of network friend type things.
Right.
Because a lot of us, we got a lot of things going on in our lives, so it's difficult to stay on top of those things. And it's not just the band and work. It's the band, work. Some of us got kids. Jesse's got a lot of other projects. I don't know what Nick does. I'm throwing my jabs like clear. Nick, I'm calling you out. No, but like, yeah, it's tough. It's tough to promote a show, man. Like it really is. And honestly, I give you a lot of credit for trying to take that on. I thought about trying to do it myself at other times before. I have helped put little things together, like the Sick Ink thing we did last week. I just got tabbed by the owner of the shop, who I've known for a long time. He's like, "Yo, you want to play my show?" And I'm like, "Sure." So I had to get a sound. I had to get a sound guy. I had to get bands, and all that kind of stuff. And it's a lot. It's a lot to keep track of. And like, you're doing a good job on that aspect.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
But it also, in all honesty, it's how well the bands communicate as well. You know what I mean? Like, I know in your in conversations and watching your previous episodes of the podcast, like everybody here's pretty chill that you've dealt with so far, and everybody seems to communicate in that one chat really well. So that's always helpful.
Well, and that's one thing I take a lot of pride in, is the fact that, like, now I don't know a lot of like the big bookers in the scene, but what I do know is like what you guys in the bands value, and I want to build on top of that and make sure that like anything I do is as accommodating to you guys as possible. Like I don't want you guys showing up like feeling or leaving at the end of the night feeling shortchanged, feeling like you're rushed, feeling like, that it just wasn't worth your time to even come out. I want to
Bro,
get
this is
you.
what we do. This
Well,
is what we do.
I know, but I feel like if there were more people who would look at it from the mindset of being like, "Hey, you guys go out and bust your ass, you know, days on end to entertain people, and sometimes, it's not super lucrative. Sometimes you have good days, sometimes you don't. Sometimes you have other assholes who make just things a lot more difficult that you weren't expecting. It's one of those things where people don't take that into consideration, and I don't like that. I want to make sure everybody's taken care of. I want to make sure everybody's communicating. I want to make sure everything. Now things do come up. I'm not going to sit here and say like, "Oh, it's going to be seamless." But if I can get it as close to that as possible, I'd like to do that. That's why I said in the group chat about set times and switch over times. Like if you guys are better with 15 minutes or 20 minutes, I could do either or. If you want an extra couple minutes on your set, we could do that too. That's why I wanted to ask you guys, cuz I don't know how it is with others, but I don't know if you guys have a lot of say in how long you play or your set times or
how
anything
you're
like that.
doing, you're giving a lot of people, like you're giving us a lot more options than anyone else would.
Honestly, what it comes down to, Keith, like you could bend over backwards 20 ways to Sunday. A lot of it, what it has to do with is the other bands.
Yeah.
All the bands involved, right? If you have one dickhead band that runs 5-10 minutes over the set because they don't give a fuck or respect you or anybody else that night, that will wreck your whole night. It's gonna wreck. It's gonna put piss in everybody else's Cheerios of every other band.
Yeah.
Because if you're playing with a national, it's going to cut the time short for everybody else before that national has to start because they have a time limit on when they have to start and when they have to end.
Yeah.
They don't give a fuck about the locals and what their times are. They have a contract on when they have to get their shit done. Not only that, even if it's just an all local show, I'll tell you right now, I get my tits twisted every time a fucking band runs over their time. You know, we do have backing tracks, and that helps keep us in time.
Right.
But even when we didn't, before we had that, like we were very strict on how much time we spent. It's how well do the bands communicate from set to set. You know, if you got a guy fucking off sitting at the bar and his set is in 5 fucking minutes, chances are they're either running late or something's gonna get messed up.
Right.
We try to be pros as much as possible as far as that aspect. I'm not trying to fuck the next band or the guy before us.
Mm-hmm.
And I always try to help. Like we played a show, you were there, Allentown.
Yep.
I was helping every other goddamn band loading drums. I didn't have to do that.
And now, see, I wanna build on that because I feel like there's a lot of things that happened that night that made a lot of people's ass itch. Because I don't remember exactly. I think it was you, Jesse, who brought something up on your Facebook post about.
Oh yeah.
I think it was. I don't like something about helping all the other bands or something along them lines, and then there was like the lineup switch over. Like I thought fucking Brandon was fucking with me because I messaged him and I was just like, oh, so are you guys going on after As Beings? He's like, no, dude, we're headlining. I'm like, fuck out of here. Like, you're shitting me, right? He's like, no, dude, I'm being dead serious. And I thought he was ribbing me because, like, that's just what he fucking does. And then, like, I got confirmation from you that, like, no, dude, like, we're last. And I was just like, what? Like, don't get me wrong. I love the fact that you guys played last. I love that you headlined and it was a hell of a show. I loved it. But I think that last minute change up just kind of like, put some people's knickers in a twist, and there's just some things that happened that day that I feel like were kind of rough. You guys want to like elaborate on some of that if you feel like speaking on some of that?
Well, just to clarify, I had that Facebook post, but that was more. I think they had us headline because usually like touring metal bands that aren't like playing in stadiums don't have like the giant followings that are going to follow them to every small show they play.
Right.
And so a lot of times an opening band, a local band is going to be more popular in the area. It's better to have them play last than to have them open and then everyone leaves for the touring bands.
Right.
So I think that's why they did that, and I get it. That's fine. My thing was I like all three of those bands. I listened to them a lot before we played. I bought a shirt off of one of them, even though it was very expensive. And they did not watch us. They stayed in the other room, well, outside, right outside where we were playing. So that was weird. I think that's like a touring band thing, maybe. I don't know. That was what my post was about. I was posing a question to bands that tour, and I was just curious if they watch like the local bands or the openers and why or why not. Honestly, like
right.
There's probably a level of like it's like tediousness to it, not that they don't want to necessarily, but because they do it every day, and so I'm sure they're just tired and they want to hang out until they have to play again, really.
Yeah.
Which is fine, I get it. But I wanted to get like a first-hand account, and that's what the whole Facebook thing was.
I feel like in that circumstance it was really weird because they had you guys set all your merch up outside, and like I felt like that was a really kind of weird thing to do, and that also kind of you had to have that separation, right? Because like you have to have somebody out watching your table.
Yeah.
But on the same token, like the kind of unwritten rule of playing a gig is it's like, hey, if you're going to be present or play the show, like be present for the other bands, so that was a really weird like
Okay.
setup they had going on there.
All right. So I was gonna go. We were gonna go on a full scorched earth like post about it and tag the fucking bands associated. We
Yeah.
ended up like we even took a vote amongst the band about doing that. We didn't want to. We ended up kind of not doing that, but I will more than gladly open up here about it. The main reason why was we don't really need any unnecessary backlash. More or less, at the end of the day, I don't give a fuck.
Right.
Like you all can suck it. Those 3 bands that we played with, you can suck it. I hope you watch this, because y'all are a bunch of fucking dickheads, except for the singer of Inferius, who was the only one who popped in to actually catch any of our set. But noticed throughout the night, you know, first band As Beings, they're based out of what, Jersey or whatever. You know, a little bit of a drive for them to come play in Allentown, and they brought a decent crowd with them, and you know, good on them for that. You know, as soon as the guy who was the touring manager, I guess, of those 3 bands, Mouth Breather, Inferius, and Salt Wound.
Salt Wound.
Yeah.
I guess the bass player of one of the bands was like the touring manager or whatever. Like I was there when he like approached the promoter, and he's like, "Well, how many tickets did people sell?" He's like, "Don't worry, we got your money." He's like, "Well, I just want to make sure we got our money." That's the kind of guy who can go shove it.
Right.
Didn't have the common courtesy to stay, you know, watch any of the local bands. And I say any of the local bands because they didn't watch As Beings, and As Beings killed it that night. But you had a couple guys from that touring package of those 3 bands that they would watch only the bands on the touring package.
Which
They
I feel like
were
is weird.
And they even moshed. They even moshed
Like-
for those bands on the touring package, but they couldn't bother to watch As Beings or Us.
Like don't get me wrong, that's kind of weird, and maybe it's just me being, you know, a shill for the locals as I am, but if you're touring with them, you see them almost every day. Why not go check out the locals and maybe see if you can continue to network with them, or maybe you'll find something new that you enjoy, like one of your new favorite bands. Like I never understood that, like, oh, I'm only gonna watch who I'm touring with thing. Like it doesn't make sense to me.
You talk about tedious repetition.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
no,
to me,
that's unfortunate, man.
and I'm gonna speak to the merch thing that Jesse said as well, because you know these guys' t-shirts were like overpriced as fuck, and they weren't even like good quality.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but if you're selling a t-shirt, a fucking t-shirt for $30 fucking dollars, I get you're trying to pay your way through tour and all that kind of shit, but you're also guaranteed a guarantee for fucking playing that show already.
Right.
If that's not enough to fucking cut it, then up your fucking guarantee. And then if people aren't booking you for that, well, then maybe you need to do fucking better. Maybe you need to fucking help that scene, you know, support the other bands that are on there. But
Yeah.
you know, I see too many times, you know, I know some of these, I talked to one of the bands like out in the merch thing. I was like, "Oh, who handles your merch?" And they're like, "Well, if you're buying it online and it's under our label handles that. We don't actually sell that on the road. Like we
Right.
handle our own stuff. We handle our own stuff on the road because I guess they don't have to give a cut off of it on whatever they sell on the road. But if it's through the label or whatever, they only make a cut." And I'm like, why wouldn't you just fucking own your own shit then? Like, yeah, it's more fucking work, but like, then you can at least have quality control, right?
Oh, exactly.
But you still have quality control on the shit you have on the road. And you're selling a garbage ass fucking bottom of the barrel fucking Gildan for $30 fucking dollars that feels like it's gonna chafe my fucking nipples. Nah, get bent, bro. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I bought a shirt for my buddy who wanted a shirt for Salt Wound.
Mhm.
He's like, "Oh, send me a picture." I sent him a picture. He goes, $30 fucking dollars. I'm like, "Yo, you either want it or you don't."
Right.
Like, he goes, "Fine, whatever, I'll get it." But like for me, I'm picky when it comes to what shirts I'll buy. Like I want to support every band.
Right.
I do, you know. But I'm sorry that I'm not going to be supporting your band other than more than purchasing that shirt once. Because guess what? I'll never fucking wear it if it's comfortable.
Yeah.
If it's uncomfortable, you know. even if it's a band that I didn't dig their music, but like you got sick merch and it's comfortable, I'll buy it.
Mm-hmm. I'm
You
kind
know
of
what I
the
mean?
same way.
That's how I am. Like, and the fact that, like I said, we sat there, we were helping the touring package fucking load their shit onto the stage, and trying to make things as easy as possible because I want the night to go as smooth as possible. So much so to the fact that like we had like pretty much everybody in our camp, whoever was helping with merch and whatever, and like all that shit was like in the building watching those bands. Like, we supported you as much as we could.
Right.
You want fucking respect. You gotta do the same, man.
Mm-hmm. No, I hear that, and like I said, it's incredibly unfortunate that pretty much happened that way because again, if you're watching the bands you're touring with, you're seeing the same sets almost every single day. You're
Mhm.
seeing the same bands every single day. Like, I mean, still go in and support them. I mean, they're bringing you out on tour or you're going on tour. Like, support your touring acts. You know what I mean? But it's ultimately the locals that are going to be bringing the local crowd in. As beings and you guys brought a good chunk of the locals in. Me,
Mhm.
that one guy that was like fist bumping the entire, the
Oh, no,
entire show.
we didn't bring him in, bro.
Oh,
We
really?
never
Yo.
bring him in. He just
No, we
appears.
never bring him in. Yo,
Dude,
he's a fucking enigma, bro.
Yeah.
he really is. I
It's
I was
Death Metal
local
Jeff, by the
legend.
way.
I was telling
Yeah.
Brandon, like, I saw him at the festival out in Catasauqua when
Mhm.
we were like when Monument of a Memory was headlining that night, and he was just like fucking hamming it up just like he was at y'all's show. I was just like, hell yeah, dude.
Every show. Every show. Like Jesse said, that's Death Metal Jeff. He's a local legend in the area as far as metal shows are concerned,
See,
and
that's
the
fine.
music.
Like I've only ever seen him twice, but maybe it's because it depends
You don't
on
come to Lehigh Valley often.
Yeah.
apparently not.
Yeah. Come to the area. He's like in this area. He's at
Yeah.
home.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So another thing I wanted to ask you guys about is aside from that show, like you guys had a couple other shows after that. Like how did they turn out for you guys?
Go ahead. Somebody else talk. I feel like I'm taking shit over.
Go ahead, Brandon. Go ahead, Brandon. You're new.
Yeah, we played 2 shows since the one show since the Sportsman show, right? That was
Two.
No,
No, two.
I think it was two because you guys
We
played
did a
the
Friday, Saturday.
yeah, you
Lovington
played
DIY is what I remember.
you played the
Oh,
New
what was
Jersey show and then the tattoo show.
Oh yeah, the tattoo show. Yeah. Yeah, we played stop, I'm like
Way to
we
drop the
played
ball, bro.
No, the
Yeah.
funny thing is, at the tattoo show, when we were fucking literally, so they had charcuterie boards and shit. They had it like catered and shit.
Oh,
We're
so
like
good.
all snacking up, right? Like getting ready to go home. And then everybody's like, yeah, see you tomorrow. Brandon goes, for fucking what? It's Saturday. And we're like, bro, we have a fucking show. He's like, we do? I'm like, dude, where the fuck
Bro,
are you?
we did an entire episode promoting that show.
I know. Yeah, it's a flaw. Whatever. I'm forgetful and shit. Damn. There's so much going on like in my life right now. It's been crazy. Things are starting to mellow out though. A lot of things are going good. I'm sorry. Tangent. What was the question?
How did those shows
Oh,
go?
How did
The
those shows
shows.
go?
The show. I liked playing despite the fact that I couldn't remember it. I really enjoyed the Sick Ink show. I mean, that was cool. I got my eyebrow pierced there. My wife got a tattoo there. The little chocolate skulls and the charcuterie boards. Fucking awesome. Um, there was this the music guy that Matt got. Like you could tell that he took his job seriously because at the beginning for the first band, unfortunately, there was like some feedback coming back from one of the speakers, and I could tell that dude was pissed every time it happened because he would just be like, "Fuck." And like so like the fact that he like took his quality of audio seriously, that right there was like, all right, cool. I know we're gonna sound good tonight because if there's any problems now, he's gonna fix them. So I know by the time our set comes, not to sound kind of shitty, But like, I know by the time we get up there, shit's gonna be on point. So knowing that our audio was gonna sound good that night, I was really pumped for it. And when it came time for us to play, like we didn't think the crowd was gonna be that huge because a lot of people started leaving. But I feel like a lot of people were there though for our set. Like there was people getting it in. Some moshing. I had a buddy of mine come up and do photos for us.
Yeah,
Shout out to Tony.
was that the
He's
guy that I shared the shots of?
yeah.
Yeah, like those were some incredible shots, dude. Like I'm actually mad because like when I took pictures of you guys at the V Spot show, I'm like, "Oh, these are pretty decent." And then I look at those, I'm like, "Wow, I fucking suck."
Well, I mean, it's what he dedicated a lot
Well,
of his
it's
life to.
that's
So I
that's
hope
his
he's
shtick.
good at
I'm
it.
not a photographer, so I'm just kind of,
Right.
you know, so
Yeah, but
but
he came and he didn't just come by himself. He brought some more people that to like rip out with us, and it was awesome. And he doesn't charge local bands for their photos, which is great. You know, it's really cool that he does that. He's just doing it to help out the bands, and he's really good at what he does. If anybody needs him, I'll make sure Keith drops a link in the bio. But
yeah.
that show was fun. There was suspension. This dude, the owner, his name's Jesse, Matt's tattoo guy. This dude's jacked. Like he's like I don't want to say he's short. He's like an average height, but he's like really stocky. He's not like a really tall dude. He's got a mohawk. He's tatted out. He's hanging from the fucking ceiling. He's pulling his McLaren. he hooked up a cable to his McLaren into his back. He had it
Oh,
hooked into his
I
back.
saw that guy. Dude's a fucking beast.
Dude, yeah, that shit was awesome. That Friday the 13th show was amazing. And the Flemington,
And Seeking Out September and Obsolescence were also awesome at that show.
yes,
I've not seen
yes.
Obsolescence before, and they were really cool.
I really appreciated that People Equal Shit cover. It was amazing. It actually started when the woman was tattoo or piercing my eyebrow. She was putting the holes on to like put the needle through. And that song started playing, People Equal Shit. And I was like, yo, you gotta hurry up. I gotta get out there for this. So yeah, that was cool. The Flemington show, I had fun doing it, but I'm not gonna lie, that whole day was exhausting. The night before was a late night for me getting home because both of the shows were up in their way. So I had like an hour and a half drive home Friday night. And Thursday I was up early for some reason. And when we played, like I had fun. I jammed out. The other bands were great, but I just like was ready for that day to be over. And I didn't stay for the last act. I stayed for the band after us, but like I was at the point where I was like, I need to drive home. I'm tired. I need to get going. So
Yeah, it was like a 2 hour plus drive for you or something.
yeah,
like
that was in Jersey. So I was like, apologies to the other local bands I didn't stay for, but like I need to get home.
Well, it's like I've said before, and I think I said it in the Blue Ridge episode where you were saying about leaving during Cruel Bomb set during your guys' show with them. I was
Yeah.
like, I'm sure they'd understand, like yeah, it's a respectable thing to do to stay and watch all the bands, but don't kill yourself to do it. If you need to go home and get sleep, if you have a incredibly long drive home, go the fuck home. you know,
Alright.
they'll. I know the dudes in Cruel Bomb. I know they're going to be around a good long while. You'll catch them again at some other point. So.
Yeah.
And same with the other bands you may have missed out for having to drive home from those shows. Like, it's okay. I'm sure they'll respect that you made it home safe.
Right. Well, I mean, both shows were awesome. The Flemington DIY show, there's like these couple people that were in the like right up front, like just two-stepping the whole time, getting it in. Guys on the side, like really thrashing their heads. They really vibed
Yeah.
with our music. It was awesome.
They had a projector there, so we could have like visuals behind us too. That was pretty
Yeah,
cool.
that was
Yeah, that was
neat.
the first time we've actually like played a show like that, which was weird because like I've seen videos and photos of other shows where they've had the projector type thing, and I'm like, when the fuck do we get that? and then we had the opportunity, we had nothing prepared for it.
See,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the projector is really hit and miss because, like, I went to a show at the Keystone stage with it was Nailbite, Variant Season, Traverse the Abyss, Abhorred, and I think that's it. But they had a projector pretty much show the show flyer on the back wall, And it's like if you were there to get photos of those guys, like you were having a nightmare because you would see like a band logo on the singer's face or some shit.
Yeah.
But then there are
That
other
was the problem with
shows-
the projector.
Yeah,
It
like
was
there
in
were
Matt's eyes. We had to move the drum kit up.
like
Yeah, I had to move the
Yeah.
drum kit up like 10 feet.
like and there were other shows like I saw one with the Art of Deception. They had their logo in behind them with like a swirling background behind it, and it didn't look like it was on them. So I don't know if they had something set up maybe from the ceiling or what, but I feel
Possibly.
like they're a really cool touch, but they can be really hit and miss.
Yeah.
For sure.
So what about you, Jesse? What did you think of the last couple shows?
They're good. It was fun. They were better than I thought they were gonna be. I really like Seeking Out September, so that made the Friday show cool, and Obsolescence was
those-
awesome, obviously. But and then on Saturday, the show was headlined by Soul Debt, and I had never heard of them, and so I was actually listening to them for like 2 months. Their album is really cool, so that was cool to see. And the band that played before them was very like Spoon of
Ukabak.
Ukabak. They were
Yeah.
very progressive, and I am glad I brought my pen with me because that made it much better. And but that music is cool. It kind of broke it up a little bit, which was nice, I guess. The band before them got added like last minute, so I didn't have much of a chance to check them out, and I also can't remember what their name is, but they were also way better than I was expecting.
Dishonest Escape.
Thank you.
Yeah, she's a beast.
Yeah, they were Dishonest Escape was surprising to me. I wasn't expecting, like, we all know they were added like a couple days before the show, so none of us really like got the opportunity to check them out online or anything leading up to it. You know, and then us having the show Friday, like it didn't leave us much time to really like, you know,
Right.
that killed a whole day to even check anything out. But Dishonest Escape really like caught me by surprise. The only negative I would say coming out of that show was the sound guy. The sound guy could have done a lot better job as far as getting levels right. There was points where the backing tracks were so damn loud that you couldn't hear the guitar 20 feet away on the other side of the room. And then there was times where like the vocals were turned up way too loud that literally it covered up the sound of everything else. Other than that, like the band's performances and what they did and what they played, they played very well. And you know, like I said, I think we all came out of that one a little bit surprised, kind of on all fronts for that. Yeah, I really like Dishonest Escape. They're I think out of Brooklyn or something like that.
Yeah, they have a female vocalist, so
Yeah.
you never know what to expect, I guess, because I'm used to I've seen Nail Bite so many times. It's the same deal. Like you see just some girl go up there and you're just like, well, what's going on here?
Well,
And they're heavy. They're
well,
good.
so are they kind of like and just to catch basis of like their sound because I've never heard of them.
I got
until
you.
Now, are we talking like Spirit Box level or In This Moment level or something akin to a Nail Bite or like in terms of vocal style?
It
Go ahead.
it was mostly screaming.
Yeah.
But also a variety of different things also mixed in. Like she did some rapping at one point. There were some clean
that's
vocals.
cool.
Yeah, it was interesting.
To me, what I said to them like as soon as their set was done, I went up to them and I was like, "Yo, you guys played a killer fucking set." I was like, "If Candiria fucked Attila, that's what their kid would sound like." like no, for real. Like they had so many different cool elements to it. Like they had this, you know, like Jesse said, the vocalist did rapping over this one song where it was just her and the drummer. And their drummer was just, you know, keeping this one solid, really cool beat going on. Their drummer was amazing.
Yeah.
All together, like their whole band brought it. But they had a really the vocalist brought a distinct sound to it. really just added elements to it that I wasn't expecting. You know,
Yeah, it was stuff that I've never heard. Like, it was pretty cool. It was definitely something cool and different.
I'll definitely have to check them out. They sound, you know, they sound
Yeah,
like they'd be a good
when
time.
you see her walk up to the mic, it, like Jesse said, it's like what's going on here? And then the sound that comes out of her little body. Well, I mean, I shouldn't say little. She's very tall. But
Yeah.
but the sound that comes out of her, it's definitely something you're not expecting. It's awesome.
Right on. So, so you guys got any like upcoming shows that you have going on, or
oh,
Oh,
we're
come
playing.
on.
We're playing
No.
playing some little thing called like Reignite Fest in
well,
like
no,
some
I
podunk town called Danville or something.
well, I mean, no, that is a podunk town. But didn't you have a? Don't you have a Maryland show coming up?
No, Delaware.
Delaware. That's right.
Yeah, so after Reignite Fest,
Oh, that's after. Oh, for some reason
Yeah,
I
it's a
was
week
thinking
after.
that was like tail end of this month.
It's the 18th.
Oh.
It's the following weekend of
Oh, right
Reignite.
Yeah.
on. Right on. So before we get into my show, we'll talk about that. We'll give a little love to that show. So down in Delaware, who are you playing with?
I don't even
Uh,
know. That's a Matt thing.
Weighing in.
It's weighing in since the fire, near Nightmare. Oh shit, you're gonna make me pull it up. I'm usually really good at
I did
this.
forget about
I-
Near Nightmare.
I
We
can't-
played with Near Nightmare at the
I can't remember the last band, but I've done sound for them twice at Jabberjaws.
Yeah.
Black
got it.
Sun Marauders.
Yes, Black Sun Marauders. Good job.
Playing at Trog. We played with Near Nightmare, and that
Yeah.
was cool. I
And
listened
since
to
the-
them.
Yeah, since the fire too.
Yeah, I listened to them
Which one of
before
them
we
was
went
the
to
one
the
with the
Trog.
pants?
Show.
Since the fire.
That's yeah.
That's like I love how you immediately knew who I was talking about. It's like, oh yeah, dude
Oh, yeah.
with the pants. It's like it was those guys.
We played with them a few times.
Yeah, they're cool dudes.
Yeah,
Yeah, I commented on his pants before I seen them go up, and I didn't know who he was. I was just like, dude, sick pants.
no, I did a morning metal segment with those guys or for those guys, and they're like, oh, thank you for sharing our stuff. I'm like, I had them written down in my notebook because I keep a notebook of all of my bands that I find. I have over 300 listed. So I had them written down. I didn't think to start sharing them until I saw them play with you guys, and I was just like, maybe I should, put something of theirs up. And they were like, "Well, thanks for sharing our stuff. That's super cool of you." I'm like, "Hey, man, anything to help the homies."
Yeah, they need to put out new music because it's been several years. So
Oh, really?
if any of them are listening to this, you guys need to get on it. I can help you if you need.
Do it. We know we know a guy. So for Reignite Fest, coming up November 11th, Danville, Pennsylvania, Danville Ballroom. Be there, be square. Get yourself a ticket. It'll be a good time. Originally, you guys were not slated to be on that bill. You guys filled in for a band that had to dip out because of a schedule conflict. What I think, Brandon, did you say anything to them before you asked me about it, or were you just like, "Hey, I'm gonna talk to Keith and see what he's got going on"?
I think I may be mistaken, but I think that's the time that I learned the lesson of maybe bring it to the band next time you agree to something. Because
Wait, you said you learned your lesson?
shut up. No, I said something in the group chat about like, yo, like we're on the Reignite Fest bill or something like that. And I forget, I think it was Matt. It might have been Matt. I don't know if it was said exactly like that. I can look, but it'll take forever to dig. But Matt was like, how about like before you just decide on some shit, like everyone else needs to say too.
Yeah.
But like
Well,
I knew that like I don't know, since like you're a buddy of mine, I knew that like if I had said yes and then like something would have happened to where I can't, I could just like say something to you again, like, yo, dude, I'm sorry. Like
oh,
actually no, we can't do it. But
Who did we replace?
Suicide Puppets.
yeah.
Because what had
Sorry.
no what did you be sorry? No,
Weren't they headlining
so
originally?
they
Those were the original headliners.
they were the original headliners because they were, they're the international local band,
Yeah, those guys are awesome.
but we were originally planning to do it November 4th, which I think that was the day they were kind of banking on. but because Tyler from Escape Artist, he was going to be in Disney World on the 4th, and he's like, I really want to play your show because like he's really good friends with Nolan from The Art of Deception. He's like, I really want to play with those guys. Is there any way we could, switch the date? And I was like, let me run it by my old man. I'll see what he has to say. And he's like, to be completely honest, I'd rather have an extra band than have the earlier date. So if they want to do the 11th, let's do it. And they agreed on the 11th. And I think for them switching the date because their bass player Johnny, him and his wife's anniversary, they had plans for that fell on that day, so they had to dip out. Dan messaged me. He's like, "Hey, I don't know if there was a mix-up or something, but we can't play that day." And I was like, oh, "Hey, no problem. Shit happens." So if we do this again, and I'm hoping we can, I'll try to get them for next year. But after I announced that we needed a band to fill in, I think Brandon, you were like immediately on the horn with me. You're like, bro, we're playing. And I'm like, hold it. I was like, slow your roll, fella. Cause I talked, the guys in Sinister Slain messaged me when I was putting the bands together, and they're like, hey, we'll play. And, I filled up the bill, or I got confirmation to fill up the bill before any of that came to fruition. So I was like, hey man, like, nah. And out of respect for them, I reached back out to them, be like, hey, there's a spot open. If you want to play it, then it's open to you. And he's like, nah, we got a show that day. So I got with Brandon. I was like, hey, reach out to the guys, see if they're willing. And if so, then you're on it. He's like, okay. And after talking to you guys, he's like, one condition. And I was like, what? He's like, we're headlining or we're support to the headline. I was like, sounds good to me. I was like, we could do that. Because
we'd have played it anyway. That was probably from Nick. We would have played it anyway.
I know he was just
that was a Nick joke.
Either way, like the thing is like you guys jumping onto that show, you were doing me a huge favor by filling that spot. And not just that, is like, I wanted to be as accommodating as I could. So I was like, listen, I don't think I could do headline because, I told Nolan in The Art of Deception, who like him and the drummer are actually from Danville. I was like, hey, we'll make it a homecoming show for you guys. So you guys will headline. And then you're like, oh, well, we'll do support. And I was like, fuck yeah, let's do it. So
can I stop you and just say one thing?
Yeah.
Art of Deception are some of the fucking nicest guys out there.
Oh,
like
they are. They
really are. Honest, they're so awesome.
Like, have you played with? Oh,
you can't see it, but I'm wearing their shirt.
There it is. So
I think we played with them twice already. Yeah.
Dude, like they are seriously some of the nicest fucking dudes. I went to school with Nolan, believe it or not. And like we weren't super close in high school. We were more like kind of like acquaintances. But once I started diving into the local stuff, I reached out to him like, hey, and he's like, oh, dude, I totally forgot we went to school together. And I was like, yeah. But, he has been seriously one of the most nicest dudes. Always in the chat, like hyping everybody up, showing the love to everybody. Yeah. I've listened to other podcasts where they were guests on it, and he's one of those guys that puts his whole heart and soul into everything, and I'm so glad to have them on. But
yeah, and their music is awesome too.
Oh, dude, exactly. They fucking rip. Like it's really bad because like I do reaction videos and stuff, and I did one for Anguish, and I feel like I wasn't like the typical reaction video person where I'd be like, I'd pause and I'd dissect something. I'm not a musician. I couldn't dissect shit even if I wanted to. So, but like, I just sat there just like fucking headbanging and just like throwing hands and shit the entire time. I was like, wow, like if someone's coming to watch me do that, they are not going to have a good time. But the song is just so good. I couldn't, I couldn't stop it to even think about it, but
yeah, I'm
incredibly excited to have those guys on. I'm excited to have all of y'all on. But from your guys' perspective, like, what are you most excited about for the day? Like, who are you most excited to share the stage with? Anybody you're particularly like hyped for?
I already verbally sucked Art of Deception's dick. But no, we love them, love playing with them. excited to see the other bands, the Aegean, I
The
want to say.
Aegean, yeah.
Aegean.
Is that how you
Yeah.
pronounce it? I was saying
Yeah.
Aegean too.
Yeah, it's Aegean, like the Aegean Sea. I could be pronouncing it wrong. I don't know. Like,
Well, maybe you need to get one of them to like, I don't know,
I don't know.
get you the proper pronunciation.
I don't know. I play D&D with Corey, so you would think that I would know that.
Yeah, you've probably heard it.
But I also did a reaction video for them where I said, "Oh, the Aegean," and they watched it and they didn't correct me. So I'm assuming
There you
that's
go.
how you say it.
Yeah, probably right.
And we've played with escape artists before. Actually, one of the times that we played with Art of Deception, it was at Mechanicsburg Love Drafts. So we thoroughly enjoyed them last time we played with them. So pumped to see them again. And then elsewhere, I don't know their music that well. We never played with them. I know I did reach out to them about coming to do that tattoo show thing.
Yeah.
They had other stuff going on. Like I only got the go ahead like 2 weeks before to try to throw it together. So like I understand.
I had
but
a couple months for mine. I can only imagine like 2 weeks.
it was a pain in the ass, dude. I wanted to get like people local to the area so they didn't have to drive far.
Yeah.
Because you never know with one of those like how it's gonna go.
Mhm.
Like it could just be a fucking shit stain and like nobody's outside. Where like there were at points in time where it was, but
Yeah.
there was other things going on. Like I get it. And then who else? Geode, right?
Mhm.
Aren't they? They're all instrumental, right?
Yeah, they're like this like groovy like instrumental like rock band. They're really fun. From what I heard, they only have 2 singles out. Like they're fairly newer.
Yeah.
So, but from what I have listened to of them, and I talked to their drummer who I think runs all their social media and stuff too. Like super nice dudes, super groovy music. Like it's not quite in the same wheelhouse as all the other bands, but I figured
No, it
Mix
works.
it up
It definitely
there.
works.
it eases them into the heavy we're getting into for the remainder of the night. So those guys will definitely be a good palate cleanser for the rest of the night.
Yeah, and I saw the video of the venue. It looks pretty cool.
Yeah, it does.
A lot
It's
of
awesome.
space.
Oh yeah, and they have like there's the balcony and the great big open space we discussed where like you guys would be putting your merch tables and stuff. Which
It looks like a YMCA gym.
Oh,
kind of.
by the way, Tony's going to be there. He's going to be doing videos for Reignite Fest or photos. Sorry,
Oh, nice.
Okay, cool.
I asked him last night. He said he put it in his calendar. He'll be there.
Right on, right on. I'm gonna talk to my folks. I already am sure they'll be fine with it, but I wanted to try to get a photographer or two to come in and do photos, and I'd give them a pass. Like they just come in,
Right.
So no ticket needed. Just show the fuck up. But
That's
yeah.
yeah, that's how. That's what was nice about the Sick Ink thing, and bringing him along. It's not like we had to pay anything. There was no entrance fee. You know what I
Right.
mean? It was
Right.
just like, dude, just show up, take pictures. Cool. All right. Yeah. Like that's how it should be. Like,
yeah,
for photographers, I understand like they're trying to charge everybody in the door and all that kind of shit. But if it's just somebody taking photos, but then
Right.
again, if they're doing it for a certain band, that band should cover that if
Yeah.
that's the case.
Yes, for sure. On the question though, I'm probably most excited to play with Elsewhere. I mean,
I was going to say that too.
Yeah, I like the Art of Deception too. Don't get me wrong; these guys are awesome. And Escape Artist, but Elsewhere, me and Tyler got some history. We go back to like elementary school,
he
and
let me jump on his
we were-
trampoline.
yeah, whatever. we were never really like we said in the podcast. I wasn't on there, but I mentioned it the podcast before, and he like kind of we weren't really like best buddies in school. Like we didn't hate each other, but we weren't like close friends, like how
Right.
you said earlier. But the fact that like we get a chance to play together and like catch up and shit, that's pretty cool. I'm looking forward to hearing them too. I've listened to a lot of their stuff. I've seen some of their live clips, and he's awesome. I can't wait
Yeah,
to see them live.
Just steer clear of him swinging his mic. He's fucking dangerous with that shit. Like he is mad scary with that. I heard he's clipped a couple of the guitar, the guitar players a couple of times. So
Yeah, you can ask Nick about that then when
Yeah,
he's on.
he's decked somebody once or twice with a fucking
Yeah.
mic.
Wait,
But yeah,
doesn't
I'm
he usually run wireless?
now.
Yeah,
Oh.
now.
Is it because you told him, like, listen, fucker, we're sick of leaving here with concussions?
No, it wasn't. He hit people in the crowd.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Oh, that ain't good. That ain't good.
But yeah, Art of Deception and Escape Artists, I love them. We have played with them before. I've seen them. They're awesome. But I've been listening to Elsewhere a lot, and Geode and the Agent, but particularly fond of Elsewhere for some reason. I'm excited to see their live show and which songs they play, honestly.
Yeah, well, I mean, you did say you were kind of real big into that metalcore stuff, and they kind of fit that sound.
Yeah.
They really branch like a wide range of it though, and I like the shoegazy stuff they do. Like they remind me of a band called the Drowned God. They're also relatively local, but I think they play regionally. But they have that same kind of, it's like heavy, but it's also like has emotion to it. It's a good balance. I like it.
Right. But yeah, it'll definitely be a good time. I'm super excited to have all of you guys out. It's gonna be a ripper of a show. So as I said before, audience, if you haven't gotten your tickets yet, do it. If we sell it out, I'm gonna get inked, and we all want to put me under the needle. There's also gonna be some cool raffle baskets. It'll be a good time. Yeah. Also, as I alluded to in the chat, we, like, the people who are hosting the show, we're actually going to be cooking for all you guys. So we'll have like the food trucks there for like all the other people. If you want to go to them, you're more than welcome to. But to kind of save like the awkward conversation of being like, hey, like we want to cover the bands, can you just like give them a voucher? And then they'd be like, no, we'll lose money. Like, so we're gonna be cooking for all y'all. But yeah, so
Awesome.
I like my steak medium rare.
We're getting past the hour and a half marker, so we'll start winding down. One thing I like to ask in a series of questions I like to ask is there anything you guys have to plug aside from the shows we just talked about?
We have a new single dropping Halloween. Pre-save will be available soon. When is the pre-save link? When can we start posting that?
I'll get it up either Sunday or Monday.
Right. There you go.
Nice. And now there's a video, a full video releasing for that too, right?
Nope.
Oh no, just a single.
Nope. Yeah, it costs a lot to get a video done.
Oh no, I hear you.
we do want to do another one soon. They are tedious.
Oh yeah.
When we did World at War, I had to drag my drums through the fucking woods for like fucking half a mile it was or something like that. Brandon's like, "Oh, it can't be that hard." I'm like, "Yeah, you weren't there, dude. You weren't there." Like,
I'm just really excited to film my first music video. I really want to be in a music video.
It was fucking August, dude. Like, It was awful. But no, we got new merch dropping. Hopefully, we should have it before the November 11th show. I just got the money paid down yesterday, actually.
Right on.
I will have some 2Xs. We were making sure to do that because we're having a lot of requests for 2Xs.
Mostly from me.
But I've heard it from you at least 3 or 4 times.
Yes.
But no, we're hopefully going to get that stuff by November 11th. I can't wait to drop this merch drop.
Oh, I'm excited.
The artwork is sick.
Yeah.
So, and we're doing
Props
it
on that.
And we're doing a good quality, garment. So yeah, we'll have that up on the merch store as soon as we have that drop. If you want to go to our merch store is whenhellsendstonight.bigcartel.com, and maybe I'll just give you Keith our Linktree link.
I already use them.
That has literally everything. You can get to our YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, merch, everything. So that's the biggest thing I would say plugging is that.
Right on. Anything from you, Jesse or Brandon?
Nope. Just if anyone needs recording, feel free to hit me up or hit the band page up and I'll get you.
Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah, I got Jesse doing some recording for me for like a little solo track I plan on releasing in the near future. Not your usual metal stuff. It's a mushy song, but yeah.
Yeah, we're all
Just
about the mush in here.
yeah, Jesse's gonna do that for me. Yeah. We're yeah. I don't know. Can I say we're working on a new song? Yeah, we're working on a new song.
Couple.
A couple new songs. Yeah, there's a couple new songs
Well,
that are.
the one's done. It's just a
Yeah.
matter of recording it.
Yes, we need to record a finished song, and we're working on a new also song that we need to finish. But yeah, a couple new songs coming out.
Noise. Okay, so we have a playlist for the podcast. Now, what I would like from each of you is each of you give me a song of yours to add to the playlist, as well as like a song that you've been just like really vibing to for like the past week or so.
Fuck. Hold on. You can start without me. I'm
Yeah,
gonna find.
I stole this idea from elsewhere, and they stole it from somebody else, and I really liked it, so we're going.
All right, I'll go first. From our band, I really love playing Virtues. Virtues of Villains for sure for our band. That's one of my favorite songs. I really wish we would play it more. And a song that I've been thumping the past week is by Destroy Create. It's called Alleviate. It's I've seen them live. They opened up for, if not for me, locally like a year and a half ago in at JB Lovedraft's Micropub, and cool dudes. We all hung out afterwards, like just having a good time. And their music was really, really good. I like them a lot.
Right on.
All right. Song from us, I guess I'll go with Fallacy because that's my favorite mix that I've done so far. And then
That's my
song I'm
favorite,
listening
too.
to, nice. Probably Memories by Escape Artist.
Nice. Yeah, I saw you jamming to them earlier.
Yeah, I love that song. The way it starts is like perfect.
Alrighty. What about you, Matt? It's your turn now.
Song of ours. All right, so song of ours, it's like I'm gonna say one that I know Jesse's like not fond of.
Oh no.
But we've only played it live a few times. Career Killer. I don't know, just like that was one of those ones that I miss playing. But like, you know, we're at that point where we're phasing pretty much almost everything out of the old album at this point.
Now this is on all the streaming platforms and stuff too, right? I don't remember seeing that one on Spotify.
No,
It
it's
is. It's an old one. It's on our first album.
Oh, okay. All right, I'll have to look in it or
It's
into
like our least frequently played song.
it was one of my favorite ones to play though. Like it was that one, like I don't know, I just like the sound of it and the layers to it and everything. It was one of my favorite songs. That was, I'm not gonna go into the full story, but written for a reason. No, I'm gonna say it, but I don't need to call out anybody.
Yeah, do it. You don't have to name drop.
There
or
was
even
a
if you
local,
want to, they ain't watching it.
you're probably right. No, I'm saying like I don't even know what happened to these people.
Yeah.
They're like fell off the face of the earth. But they were a local band, local to us, and there was some dissension in the band. And next thing you know, people were posting screenshots of the band chat,
Uh-oh.
and it was like a whole bunch of racist shit.
Yikes!
Like, I'm like, way to fucking shoot yourselves in the foot, dickheads! Like, and it because like one guy was trying to call the other guy out for being racist, but then that guy took screenshots of the other guy saying some racist shit, and I'm like, oh wow, you're just like throwing each other in the fire here, like, and you could have just like been left the band and been done, like that's it. Like, why does it need to be this? But yeah, that's what that song was written about. Like, we've actually played with that band like 2 or 3 times. So, but they're not existent anymore. I don't even think you could find any of their stuff anywhere. I actually tried like looking them up, just like curious if they were still trying to do it, but it doesn't look like it. Anyway, song. This is really gonna fuck up your playlist, bro.
I don't care. Doesn't matter the genre. Doesn't matter at all.
All right, the artist is Kriz Calico. Krizz.
Okay.
Kalik.
IKO. Okay.
Yeah, and the song is called Hesitate.
Alrighty. I'll have to check.
I listen to a lot of different stuff. I'm always coined as the guy who listens to more rap than anything, which is funny because like past I don't know how many years, all my friends knew me as just like the metal guy. If they like wanted to check out a new band, I was the guy to ask.
Yeah.
But I have more depth in shit that I listen to that people are just like kind of thrown off by it.
And sometimes you have to.
Yeah. It is what it is. Like I don't even listen to a lot of metal right now, in general, just because I think there's too many people repeating too much shit, and it's all starting to sound the same.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to do the Lorna Shore flex, and I'm fucking
Yep.
over it.
As Tyler from Elsewhere called it, Lorna Shorecore, as it's called now.
Dude, I'm over it. Like I'm over it. I fucking hate it. Like I actually won't listen to Lorna Shore because of it. Because how much it was thrown down people's throats.
Yeah, it was impressive when it came out, and Ramos was like the trendsetter for that, and now everybody's doing it. It's like it's not even cool anymore.
Bro, I didn't even listen to it intentionally ever. And then it just so happened to like pop onto one of my like random playlists or whatever.
It's all over TikTok. All over.
And I'm like, okay, everybody hype this up. Then I'm like, what's the big fucking deal? Like, now, had they done a certain part of that breakdown a little bit longer, I would have been like, oh, okay, cool. Now I can get into this. But like, once you get like the rhythm of it down, then it's fucking over. And I'm like, okay, all right. That's how I felt. But not knocking them, and I'm not saying they're not talented musicians or anything. Like they're great. Lorna Shore has done a lot, as well as Will Ramos has done a lot, for the scene in a way, which is great. But it's one of those where I'm like, fuck, like it's one of those where like, remember when Whitechapel first started clean singing?
Yep.
And like, if you were part of it, like if you were like a deathcore band or like considered yourself deathcore or love deathcore, you're like, fuck.
Yeah.
Like it's like it's one of those. Like you appreciate it because you can try to draw more people in, and it can get more eyes on product in general. But then again, it's just kind of like, it's not a black eye, but it's like, in a way, I don't know. I think it becomes overhyped. Is the way for me, and then the expectations are up here every time. Like, I don't know. That's my opinion on it.
No, dude, I hear you. As for my contribution to the playlist, I think I'm gonna bring back an old staple to what we've been mentioning in the podcast before. I'm gonna bring in by Coal Chamber. I don't know why. I fucking love that song.
I was around when that song like came out. Like I was cognitive. I was cognitive when that song came out. Like is what I should say.
Again, like I just saw them live for the first time a couple months ago, and that was the first time I ever heard that song. I'm like, is he fucking saying Big Trouble? And it was, and now it's been stuck in my head ever since. Okay, so last kind of two questions for you guys. You can lump them together, and you want, if you want. What is something you have in terms for like advice? Like, what advice do you have for our listeners, and what is something you're grateful for?
I'm not doing this one.
Why?
I do this one every
episode.
Yeah. I'm running
We're running out of ideas.
I can see you're not grateful then.
Yeah, you did.
No, I'm always grateful for the same shit. I'm grateful for everything. I'm grateful for air. I'm grateful that I have a car and a job and a wife and awesome bandmates that like to bust my balls all the time.
Cheeseburgers.
There's mine. Go ahead, Matt.
I think Mike likes cheeseburgers more.
But
I'm not getting into that story.
That'll be for another time. We do plan
Just
on
ask
having
him.
some of the
Just
rest of
ask
the
him.
guys back, so we'll ask about the cheeseburger story later.
Ask him if he's got any Wendy's drive-through stories.
Oh boy.
I think he'll decline to comment. Jesse, I don't know if you want to go first.
Yeah, sure. I'm grateful for my girlfriend for being ignored, not killing me, and also to you, Keith, for putting on this excellent show that we're all pumped for.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm grateful.
I don't
for
have
all
any
of you
advice
guys.
for people.
I don't have any advice.
No.
Get some sleep.
All right, I will go with. Oh man, I'm like tinkering with the advice thing, right? Like, a part of me is like, fuck everybody else, right? Like just be concerned about you.
Yeah.
As much as people are like, oh, that's fucking selfish. No, but I mean in the aspect of why you fucking worried about what the fuck other people are doing. I'm a big proponent, like big person on like speaking your fucking mind. I could go to depths in this and probably do it for another fucking 5 hours easily, and you would probably still not run out of shit to talk about. But
Talk about later.
Well, I mean, no one cares what any of us are saying because there's a dog on the screen. So
no, but like honestly, advice would be do you don't get caught up in the bullshit, and support your local acts. Like there might not be a band that I fucking care for listening to, on a show that we're playing or whatever, but I'll still be in the fucking room. So your guess is as good as anybody else's if I enjoy you or not. No, but honestly, yeah, support the other acts. That's a big thing for me. Because I'll tell you right now, the moment we see that none of your guys are in the fucking room supporting us, guess what, dude? I hope we play another show with you, and I'll go hang out in the fucking parking lot and smoke a cigarette the whole fucking time. So
I'll still watch your band.
no, I might stand in the back and middle finger you. But I give no fucks. I'm probably one of the most outspoken guys in the band, to the point where it's probably almost gotten us into trouble. But obviously grateful for my wife and all the shit she puts up with, and allowing us to play at my place. We have a very free, open area here. Like I go on.
I'm also grateful for Matt's wife.
I mean, I do honestly. I'll go on vacation sometimes, and like I can remotely unlock my front door to let these guys in to practice or record.
That's cool.
Yeah, and my wife's like okay with it. So, grateful for her and that, and grateful for the people that gave us a chance at any given time. It's hard to get cracked kind of into certain things. But grateful for anybody who's given us an opportunity and a chance, and hopefully we didn't let you down. And obviously my bandmates, the ones that stick around.
Says slight shade, but kind of not. To the rest of you who left, fuck you guys.
No, I mean like, yeah, there's a couple. Carl Slepers, go fuck yourself. No, I actually want to bring something up, Keith, real quick.
Yeah, go for it.
Because I know you've talked about it on multiple podcasts. I know I forget the gentleman's name from Cabal Brand. I know you brought it up multiple times about the ticket selling thing, and I know Brandon doesn't really like have a lot of experience with it and shit, but like I know there's been like shade thrown at like people doing ticket selling shows and shit. I'm gonna give you another side of that coin. If you don't want to fucking sell a ticket for that show, don't play the show. You know what I mean? I don't want to hear you griping. I'm sorry. I don't give a fuck who you are, what scene you're part of, what circle you're part of, what clique you're part of.
Or what job you do within your touring camp.
I don't give a fuck. If you don't want to sell a ticket, you don't have to play a show.
There you go.
It's that simple. National act, regional act, whatever. I don't agree with selling tickets for fucking local shows. I think that's kind of bullshit. If it's all local fucking bands, like, we're gonna try to do our best to bring people, right? That's really all I got to say about that, because that's just, I wanted to give you the other side of the coin from it, from somebody who's done it. We've played shows where we've sold 171 tickets. We've done shows where we've sold 5. It depends on the lineup, how confident you are if you can sell those tickets at that cost. And if you're not comfortable with that, too bad. Don't do it.
Right.
When you're doing that stuff, you have to kind of take it on the chin. There's going to be some times where you'll take the L and sometimes where you won't. And if you're not willing to take L's, then you're in the wrong business.
I've had to multiple times. I had we played a show one time, and the promoter said, "Hey, can you sell X amount of tickets or whatever?" And we said, "Yeah, we should be able to do it." And then we didn't get anywhere close. It was a bigger one. It was like one of these big tours that came through. It was like festival season. We did like 3 or 4 fests that year. It was insane. Like, we sold a lot of tickets that year. It was absurd. But I think we were all kind of gassed out at that point.
Right.
And the last one we were doing, we didn't hit the number we were expecting to. And the guy was super cool with me, like, which apparently a lot of people think he's a total fucking dickhead, which, hey, maybe you had different experiences.
Yeah.
But I never had an issue with the guy. And, he's like, "Hey, what happened?" I'm like, "Hey, dude, like, I didn't hit it." He went to go pay me and the band our per ticket back, like, because you get X amount per ticket that you sell. I said, "No, man, you keep it." He goes, "No, but you sold those tickets." I was like, "Yeah, but I didn't hit our agreement, so you keep it." And he literally, like, he's like, "I respect that." He's like,
"Good man."
Not a lot of people would do that. I made sure everybody, the guys in the band were like cool with it before I did it. Because that goes into our merch pool and all that kind of stuff. And but to me, it was the respectable thing to do, the honorable thing to do, because we made a commitment and we didn't pull off our end. So that was how we handled that.
Right on. So remember, always support your local acts. Do put in the work. Sometimes you have to take a hit on the chin in order to get things done, but it is what it is.
At the end of the day, like Keith said, if you can't afford to take an L when you're trying to do something, like, you're gonna hit and you're gonna miss. Just how much are you willing to?
But yeah, that's just one of those things where you just have to go through it through trial and error, negotiate, rates for money, how you're going to go about tickets, and you're going to have to go into it knowing that there's probably some chances that you're not going to get the results you want. And just keep in mind, that's okay. You're not too big to take a loss every so often. So
But there's some guys who just outright sell all their tickets and buy them for themselves, just to get on certain shows, and that's on them. That's on them. They want to do that. That's on them.
Without a doubt. But we're gonna close out. Is there any closing thoughts from you guys before we shove off for the day?
Sure.
Mouth breather salt.
Are you glitching me again?
I was just gonna say, Salt Wound. I wish you guys weren't dicks, because I want to listen to your music. Now I won't.
Dude, call out. Get Chris Franzak on the phone. Anyway, that is all for us here today at the Local Opener Podcast, guys. Thank you for tuning in. From all of us here at the Local Opener Podcast and When Hell Ascends Tonight, keep it heavy, support your local acts. Have a good one.
Peace.
Thank you, Keith.
Thank you.
What?